Hello, everyone. My name is JD Calderon, and this is Indie Comics Explained. And yet again, I brought another fantastic group of independent comic book creators. So please hit like, hit subscribe, share out the video, let everybody know we're here. Without further ado, Jay's not in tonight. It's Father's Day, so he's paying his respects. And to all the fathers out there, too, happy Father's Day. And I brought this guy on.
What's up, JD? Hello, everyone. My name is Jorge Medina. I am the creator, writer of The Adventures of Wonder Duck, Russ 5377, and I currently have a campaign going on for my latest book, The Shameless Plug. Happy to be here tonight, bro.
All right, cool. And we have the man himself, the pinch hitter, the superstar of superstars.
As you always say in your intro, yet again, I'm here. Yet again.
There he goes. Yeah. I was just gonna say yes. You're not Jimmy Palmiotti.
No. This is true.
This is true. No, listen, Jimmy's a good guy.
He is. Yeah.
Jimmy's a good guy. But Tom,
I had some interesting conversations with Jimmy back in the day, which I will never forget, which is great. But no, I am Tom Hutchison. I'm Big Dog Inc. Celebrating 16 years of Big Dog Inc. this year, 15 years of The Legend of Oz. No campaigns running at the moment. We're in the middle of fulfillment of campaigns, but we'll be back with The Legend of Oz part 2 in August.
All right, very nice, very nice.
How you doing? My name is Matt Knowles. I am one half of Insymmetry Creations, metal musician, comic writer, podcast host, live show MC, panel host, all that fun stuff. We do have a campaign running right now for Tatsumi, the Serpent Mistress #3. Can't wait to talk about that a little bit later on with an amazing guest appearance from Efren Ramirez, aka Pedro from Napoleon Dynamite. How that all came about, we'll let you know later on. But yeah, I have a campaign running. Tom doesn't. I'm not sure how that happens, considering Tom normally has about 14 to 27 running a year. So how we can be running one when Tom isn't is very, very bizarre.
I did 4 conventions back to back, and I had no time to do one. That's basically
how this happens.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I'm all out of sorts too. I'm in between campaigns as well. So yeah, it's crazy.
I'm Thane Benson. I'm the creator of the comic book The Clockwork Knight. I'm the writer and the artist, and I currently have a new edition of Quick the Clockwork Knight on Kickstarter. Now it's an experimental comic. I'll explain it more later, but it's called The Infernal Descent. Thanks for having me.
All right, cool. Pleasure. It's always a pleasure. Thane. How you doing, Jim?
Hey guys, I'm doing good. Hey guys, my name is Jim Ousley. I'm the writer of the Butcher Queen series and the Atonement Bell, contributor to John Carpenter's Tales for Halloween Night horror anthology, and it's nice to meet you guys.
Cool.
Oh,
Nice to meet you.
I guess I should also say I've got a Kickstarter campaign myself for my next series, The Agony of Stars. Almost totally forgot to mention that little important detail.
That little nugget. There you go, because that's why we're here. But gentlemen, I'm pretty sure all of you have seen the show question, right? I figured we'd do something with genre and talk about genre for a little while. So what's everybody's thoughts on post-apocalyptic stories, right? Like, how do you feel about them? How do you feel? And it doesn't matter what medium, what genre, I mean, what medium you we're talking about, whether it's film, books, comic books, because it's all over the place, right? So how do you feel about it? Is it something you'd work in? Is it something you want to work in? Have you done it before? Do you not like it? Do you like it? Do you love it? So on and so forth. I'm interested in hearing what everybody has to say and maybe even discussing a little bit about it. So, Jim, last man in, first man up. So, in the hot seat.
Cool. Yeah, I love post-apocalyptic stories, and post-apocalyptic movies. I went through a phase last year where I was watching a lot of those, like Exterminators of the 21st Century, or those 80s post-apocalyptic movies that were kind of like Mad Max knockoffs. The thing is, I actually haven't done, the closest I've come to doing a post-apocalyptic story was the Butcher Queen series, but that was kind of more cyberpunk, actually. I would love to do a story in that subgenre. I guess it's a subgenre. The thing is that there have been so many people that have done it and have done a really good job at it, But if I had a story idea that I really liked that would lend itself really well to that, I would love to do that for sure.
All right, cool. Thane, what are your thoughts?
I like post-apocalyptic stuff. I do feel like the closer I feel like we're getting to the apocalypse in real life, it becomes a lot less fun. And I don't know if I was just
Yeah.
naive when I was younger, in like the Cold War era and all that. Because I think some people felt close to the apocalypse then, but I didn't as a kid. But now I feel close to the apocalypse. I feel a lot less fun than I used to. But I still think it's cool. I think I've done stuff that's sort of touched on that for sure. I did like kind of like a weird vampire western with a post-apocalyptic thing. But yeah, I think it's fun. I think there's lots of abilities. It's super crazy with it. But yeah, just kind of the whimsicalness of it has left me a little bit the more bitter I get about the state of the world. That's all.
That's fair. Know exactly what you mean. Matt, what are your thoughts?
I love post-apocalyptic stories. To me, my favorite aspect of post-apocalyptic stories is the right when it's happening, when people are having to figure out what's going on in the apocalypse, whether it's zombies or a meteor shower or whatever it might be, and they're having to figure it out, and we have a cast of characters and some of them make it through and some of them don't. To me, unless it's Mad Max and you're like hundreds of years into the future, I would rather have it be right then so you can kind of see everybody kind of figuring it out in real time. To me, that's when it's the most interesting. Like, I don't want to see a zombie apocalypse story that's 10 years in the future or 20 years in the future, because I'm like, all the energy and the angst of can they survive is already gone, because they have survived 10 or 20 years. So give me that thing right when it's happening.
All right, cool. Tom, what are your thoughts?
Everything Matt said is wrong, as usual.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate
we'll go over this one point at a time. No, but I will throw out immediately in the context of that zombie thing. It's probably not 10 years. We don't really know how long it was, but I think Zombieland is one of the greatest, examples of it's already happened. We're in the middle of it. Things are happening, but it's still a great movie, and it's got great characters. Still figuring out how to survive, of course. But I do get the point of sort of the starter apocalypse, and then there's the pre-apocalypse movies where the meteor is coming. We have to try and figure out what to do about it, and but I think the genre is really kind of wide open. I mean, every time you say post-apocalyptic, 9 times out of 10 people will probably think Mad Max. That'll be or Road Warrior specifically. They'll be like, oh, right, a Road Warrior. Everybody's wearing leather chaps and driving crazy cars. But then you've got things like Planet of the Apes, which is post-apocalyptic. Yeah. You have stuff like WALL-E, that's post-apocalyptic, right? I mean, the Earth is basically a dumpster for humanity. You've got the comedy that was about the rapture and all that with This Is the End, with all the stars playing themselves, and while the apocalypse was happening and the rapture happened. There's all kinds of crazy stuff you can do with the idea of either pre-apocalypse, present apocalypse, or post-apocalypse. I don't think there's really a limitation. I mean, there's a great post-apocalyptic. There's a couple post-apocalyptic Oz movies. Only one of them really got attention because it was at the time the biggest cable TV movie of all time. It was called Tin Man. It was basically a future story of Oz, and it was very post-apocalyptic. It was very dark. Emerald City had kind of fallen and so on. But then there was another one came out 10 years ago called Ozland. And Ozland is basically literally, they don't tell you what happened, but everything's gone. A couple of guys are roaming around, and in the houses that they're going through and stuff, they find the original book of the Wizard of Oz. And as they start to read it, it sort of blends with what's happening with them in the real world. And they start to think that the Wizard of Oz is actually a history book rather than a fictional book. So it's really, really cool. I think you can find it on Amazon if you guys haven't seen that. It's really good. So yeah, I think the genre is wide open. I think there's too much copycatting. There's too much let's just make a Mad Max movie again. But sometimes it works. Like there's Death Race, right? Like you got cars, but in a different context, where we have a world where we're like on purpose, trying to run people over. So it's to me it's a pretty wide open genre. I would say probably 9 times out of 10 I'm open to whatever somebody wants to do in that sort of context.
Cool. George, what are your thoughts?
I used to like them. I used to like the genre a lot. I think to a lot of you guys made the point of like, the older you get, and the closer you get, like you said, Thane, like how that is just starts losing its luster. And like, I feel like the last one I enjoyed was I Am Legend. I think was the last post-apocalyptic movie I enjoyed. There was a show I think on Hulu called Paradise.
Paradise is incredible.
Yeah, that one's out there. Obviously, The Last of Us, right, was one of the last few ones that came out. I just think, like, I don't know, unless you're doing something like what Tom said, like Oz, right? You're incorporating another kind of story and going that route. I almost feel like a lot of that stuff, we're all trying to figure out what happened, right? How did it happen? And they're always going, they're going through that motion. And so, I don't know. I mean, I think I used to like them a lot. I don't know that I like them as much as I used to now. But especially with, like Thane said, the state of the world today. But yeah, I mean, hey, if you have a good idea for something and you can write it really well, dude, I'm in. I haven't really been able to get into. I haven't seen Paradise. So Matt, Paradise is good. You're saying
Paradise is incredible. The first episode, if you don't know anything about Paradise, the first episode of season 1, don't go read anything about it. Just go watch it. The twist at the end of the episode is one of the coolest twists you'll ever see in writing. I think that the structure of season 1 is very well done. Season 2 is structured exactly opposite of season 1, but it completely works. I think it's just a masterpiece in the way they've constructed the 2 seasons. Absolutely something you should be watching.
Yeah. So I think that
there's actually, I think you said, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Jim.
I'll say you mentioned I Am Legend with the Will Smith movie, right?
Right.
That one. The first film version of that, I think, was with Vincent Price, Last Men on Earth, and that one is really, really good too. It takes a really, it's more of a kind of a quiet, intimate look at a post-apocalyptic world, and it doesn't move as fast as I Am Legend does, but it's got a lot of value in its own right, from that sort of slowly paced perspective. And
yeah, that movie. I mean, those 2 things, they're based on a short story. So like, like it's kind of interesting how they kind of like change them around. But yeah, I think that was the last one that I was like, oh man, this is really cool.
Yeah.
Gen X kids grew up being told we were going to be vaporized by nuclear bombs like at any moment. So Gen X kids are like, apocalypse, we've done this for 50 years. There ain't no apocalypse. It ain't happening. Don't worry about it.
DNA is not something you're really afraid of,
Yeah. I think the last one I watched was Fallout on Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, which was a lot of fun. It's funny. I wonder, is something like RoboCop considered, because it's Detroit, the rest of the country seems to be intact. It's just that particular city is going through what it's going through. I mean, it still is.
That was just a documentary. That was a Detroit documentary.
Right. Yeah. That was.
Literally, there's a RoboCop statue in Detroit right now. So
Nice.
just a documentary. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's like Rocky. There's a Rocky statue in Philadelphia. The movies we love, they're actually documentaries.
And then what is it? Pluribus, which is a weird one because it is an apocalypse, but it's not like. I mean, there is death, but it's a weird one if you haven't seen it. It's where everyone become spoilers. So if you're gonna watch it, here it comes. An alien virus infects everyone on the planet, and everyone becomes a hive mind, right? But there's 9 people who are not affected by it, right? So then what happens is the hive mind, they're very peaceful, they're very genial, right? They won't eat anything that's alive. They'll only eat stuff that's like fallen off. Like they won't even pick an apple off a tree. They have to wait till it falls off, right? But they'll do anything to appease these 9 people, right? And one of them, the lead actress, she's losing her mind. She was a writer, and she's just like, she's all about her individualism, and she just wants to be who she is, and she just wants to reverse this effect on humanity, you know, because she wants her life back, right? And everybody, and the thing is, like, everybody knows everything, right? So you turn to a 5-year-old kid, and he knows, if you need brain surgery, he can operate on your brain, no problem, you know, because he knows what everybody else knows, right? So there's this peace, but it's like humanity's dead, you know, because there's no individual thought. There's just a hive mind thought, you know, which I thought was one of the more interesting versions of that trope that I've ever seen, you know. Pluribus. And then I read a book recently called Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy, which was perhaps one of the most bleak takes on humanity I've ever read. Really good book, right? Funky, you know, but it is bleak. It's a cowboy story. It's just like I would imagine this is where spaghetti westerns came from, because that's the only place I've ever even seen a little bit of that type of feel, you know, because it's just so bleak. I'm just like,
I guess Project Hail Mary would fall under that too, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Well, again, it would be like a pre-apocalypse. They're
Right.
trying to prevent something.
Prevent it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're trying to prevent. Yeah.
Yeah. But while
So
he's
you
out in
guys-
space, it's already happened at that point. You know what I mean?
Have you guys seen the 2 different cuts of I Am Legend? I think that the second version of I Am Legend actually is pretty interesting, because they add like 2 scenes in, and you switch the ending, and it goes from being what it is to where, like, the creatures in I Am Legend seem like they're zombies and they are, you know, a lesser being. And the 2 scenes that you add in switches the entire movie to be like, maybe these are of a higher intelligence. And it's really cool how just these 2 couple scenes reframes the entire movie.
That's interesting.
It's amazing.
Yeah, because
They're making a sequel to that, aren't they? I think.
Huh?
I don't know. Mm-hmm.
I heard they're making a sequel, but Will Smith, they're using the ending where Will Smith survived, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, because I mean, I read the short story. In the short story, the Will Smith character is like the boogeyman to them.
Right.
Like he's like, you know, like he's a serial killer to them. You know, because they're trying to, you know, they've developed their own society, and he's that strange aberration that's just like, what the hell is that? Like, you know, where's that coming from? So yeah, it's interesting. It's very interesting. No, I just asked the question. I just thought it'd be interesting for all of us just to discuss post-apocalyptic and just genres in general, because something I want to try new. Maybe in a future podcast I'll do a fantasy and science fiction, all that stuff. So.
Well, and none of us have mentioned the greatest post-apocalyptic movie of all time.
Laser Blast?
Well, there is that. But Idiocracy.
That is true.
Talk about documentaries. Like,
I thought that's what we were living through.
Yeah. That's a tough watch right now, man.
It is.
For me.
Yeah, I just saw it again a couple of months ago. Like you said, Tom, I was like, dang, this really is a lot more normal than it was when it came out back in the day.
Listen, maybe all we got to do is put that Brondo in the reflecting pool and we'll be fine.
That's right. It's got electrolytes. You never know, man.
Fine. Everything's good.
Wow. All right.
How is that not a meme right now? That needs to be like everywhere. Somebody
Don't
pulling
make it,
Brondo
man. Don't
into
make
the thing.
it.
That'd be good.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll do that tonight for you all. Yeah.
There you go. You put on a shirt. All right, George, you're up.
I'm up. All right. Let's see. Question. I'm gonna talk to the storytellers in you. Do you guys write for a target audience?
Mm-hmm. All right. Thane, you're up.
Yeah, so my target audience is always me. like I'm always writing to entertain myself. But what that means is meant different things to me throughout my life. Like when I first started doing comic, or getting serious about doing comics anyway, I even have kids. I guess I got serious about it before I even had kids. So like I was writing much more sort of like mature content stuff, basically the stuff I was reading. But then once I had kids, that started to change a little bit, especially when my kids got to the age where they could read. then I was like, oh, maybe I should be writing stuff I wouldn't feel weird about giving to them. So after I had kids and after my kids grew up a little bit, I started trying to sort of broaden what I write, which is a little tricky because if you say like all ages, people think it's like for kids, but I'm like, well, it's not just for kids, right? Like it's still primarily for me.
Yeah,
people like me always. So that is something like I kind of struggle with a lot with people because I do a lot of sort of like what I'm best known for is like interactive books, like choose your own adventure stuff. And some people are immediately like, oh, that's for kids. I'm like, well, yeah, but it's for you too, if you think it's cool. so yeah, I try to write for myself, but these days I do try to mostly write stuff that I feel good about giving someone of any age.
All right, cool. Matt, you're up.
I mean, to say it, I mean, I kind of like to echo what Thane said. We feel like, we have our train and our train is going down the tracks, and anybody that wants to jump on our train is welcome to be on there. So anybody that likes the way that we write and that we construct stories, by all means. Now, granted, when we did Misfits Clubhouse and we knew the demographic that was going to be going towards, we wanted to make sure that there wasn't going to be wordings or subject matter that was going to be something where a 12-year-old was going to be like, dude, I have no idea what you're even talking about. So in that respect, we would make sure that we framed that correctly. But and then like with Tatsumi is the first time we've had a true female lead, and a lot of the main characters are females. Doesn't mean it's all, the He-Woman Man-Haters Club or something like that, because that wouldn't be realistic. But we try to make sure that if we have a female lead character, Steph is going to definitely take some of the lead in that and be like, is this something that you as a female are going to think about? We want to make sure it doesn't always sound like it's coming from my mind or from, my demographic trying to be a 12-year-old or, me trying to put myself in the mindset of a Onabagesha from a collapsed, Far East kingdom or something like that. So I think that's the answer to your question. I mean, we try to write to our fan base as the target audience and ourselves. If we can get behind the story, we can believe it, then everything else comes after that.
All right, cool. Jim, you're up.
Yeah, that's a difficult question because my favorite genre is horror. And I've written sci-fi and stuff before, but the stuff that I do always starts from a very personal source. It's something that that maybe makes me angry or upset, and I use writing and the right story to sort of untangle it and disassemble it and find out why this has affected me like it is. Like The Agony of Stars, my next series that we're doing the Kickstarter for, that one was inspired partially because my mom passed away in 2023 from dementia and Parkinson's. And I had never had a direct impact like that, having to, work or deal with someone who had that disease, and it was very heartbreaking. And I had to kind of use this series to help me figure it out, how that affects relationships and remembering your past and losing your past and all that kind of stuff. And with the Atomic Bell, a lot of that was because, and I said it in St. Louis, which has a really troubled racial history, let's say, and it's a very Irish Catholic city. And that one was inspired by, I had friends I went to high school with in a Catholic high school, and I became reacquainted with them on social media like Facebook and everything. And they would always post these really religious quotes and memes. And I don't have any particular problem with religion at all, but they would post these things and then post these really sort of like racist or misogynist memes also. And those two things just didn't work too well together. They didn't work in concert too well together. So that's what inspired that series. So for me, it's usually me working something out for myself but in a story that I hope is entertaining to whoever reads it. So I don't think I'm writing to a particular audience. I'm just hoping I'm writing something relatable to whoever reads it, in a way.
Cool. Tom, what are your thoughts?
So it's kind of a mixed bag. In the generality, absolutely not. I write what I want to write. I mean, literally every day when I write, it's, do I want to write superheroes? Do I want to write horror? Do I want to write Westerns? What is today? Obviously deadlines sometimes push certain things into the foreground, but generally speaking, it's whatever I feel like, whenever I feel like. And if someone decides they want to buy the book and come along for that ride, great. Book's happening, whether, you know, there's a projected audience or not. It's just, here it is. This is what I did, like it or don't like it. But there's two instances where I sort of write for an audience. The first is we do generally once a year, we do a thing called Camp Crossover, where we take all of our characters out of their natural habitats and their normal books and send them into summer camp. So it's basically like old 80s summer camp movies, Meatballs and things like that. So it's just pure parody and pure fun. And it's just loaded with Big Dog Inc. Easter eggs, character things, very meta, that people reading BDI books will catch those things. And people that don't read those books are going to be like, I don't get what happened there. And again, I don't care, because in that situation, it really was made for somebody. This is sort of a treat for the Big Dog Inc. fans, a little annual fun. Let's have a little fun. Let's poke fun at this. Let's poke fun at that. But we do try and like tie it into something specific. One of the other parts of Camp Crossover is every day on the calendar is like a weird day, right? Like there's always like Batman Day and whatever, but there's like really weird days on the calendar. And so we've used a lot of those weird days. Some of them have become regular occurrences for us, like Goth Day just happened in May. So we've done like Video Games Day and like Skateboard Day and Drive-In Day. And we tie those into the Camp Crossover stuff so that people that don't necessarily get all the jokes, they still get a story that they can kind of relate to, because there's a purpose for the story happening. It's not just totally random. And then the other situation is with Legend of Oz, my book that we're working on right now, my Western Dorothy. In the early days, I was kind of running by the seat of my pants. I was just kind of like, let's go. This is fun. And then it wasn't long before I kind of got invited into the community. I go to an Oz show called Ostravaganza every year. And the longer that I was there and talking with these people, some of them are very traditional. They just want the books. They just want the movie. That's all they want. Other people are open to, adaptions of Oz in whatever capacity. As I started to kind of talk with these people and kind of get to know them more and more, it sort of in a way started to adjust how I did things with the book. I didn't change my story, but I wanted to make sure I had in my head now, I'm like, okay, how can I do this so that those traditionalists will be able to open this book, read it, and go, oh, that guy knows what he's talking about. Like, he read the books. Like, he is an Oz fan. He's not just some dude that they pulled in off the street who writes an Oz book with, ruby bullets. And so I sometimes, as I'm writing scenes or as I'm interpreting portions of the Oz world into my Western world, I stop and think like, okay, if somebody were to read this, are they going to be happy with it? Is it going to throw them off? Because we don't do, this is not a thing where it's like a fairy tale where like, Dorothy's running around in her underwear, stuff like that. It's a very real Western story. So she's not the character that they're used to, but is there a way to use Baum's foundational elements of the character in the world to, to stand our characters on there so that when a traditionalist comes in, they're like, oh yeah, this guy does know what he's talking about. And that's worked. This was our best ever year. This is my 13th year at Ostravaganza this year. We had people buying this book just over and over and over and over again. And we kind of saw that growth over all these years. And there's a lot of people there that have been traditionalists, and they're finally just like, okay, give me what you got. Show me what you got. You're still here. Show me what this book is. And and the responses has all been good. They all come back like, all right, give me the next book. So in that context, again, I didn't change the story, but I was conscious of who might be reading it. And I think that did me a good service.
I don't think though with that, I mean, I feel like with that, that's not so much as writing to a target audience. It's as making sure that you're being intelligent in your writing, because if you know that people that are purists or people that have a lot of knowledge of that subject matter are going to be taking it in, I would say you want to make sure that you're not writing stuff that is pure crap to them. Like, well, clearly Dorothy's not going to be jumping off the top rope and giving the scarecrow an elbow drop, like that's not Oz. So I think that just shows some intelligence in knowing the people that are reading it, so that they feel like you actually are valuing their time. So I actually commend you in that.
Yeah, but he might be missing that market of those people who want Dorothy to jump off that top rope.
I feel like we just read a crossover right there, like right as we're talking. So
get your peanut butter out of my chocolate, buddy.
There you go. I don't know, for myself, I mean, I'm pretty much like Thane. I write for myself, right? But it's something I want to share with everyone. But there is one other thing, though. I have written stories for other people, right? So I've when I did when I was doing commercial work, that was always for somebody else. So it was like I would get whatever materials they would give me to do my research, right? Write my proposals and make sure that it falls in line with what the original intent of that creation was, right? So like, I'm not going to go in there and just start smashing toys and just be like, okay, well now this guy was always a mild-mannered person. Now we're going to make him like some edgelord, and he's going to dress in black and whatever, where that's not the character, right? So I want to keep that integrity of those characters. So yeah, it just depends. And then there's also another type of exercise I sometimes do as a writer, where I pick a person I know, it doesn't matter who it is, right? But someone I know personally, right? And I try to write a story for them. I don't tell them, right? But I just write the tale, and I'll be like, yeah, and maybe I'll show it to them or they'll run across it or whatever. And it's just to see if you can flex that muscle, because sometimes you need to change it up a little bit. Can't always be so selfish. It's just for me, right? Which is very easy to do. So, George, you're up. It's your question.
Yeah, I mean, I think as creative people, we all write for ourselves, right? We all write what we would like to read, right? But I think that once the creative hat gets taken, at some point you have to take the creative hat off for a second, put on the business hat, and say, okay, there's a reason why video games are rated whatever. There's a reason why movies are rated PG-13, G, PG, because there is, and I know it's almost like a blasphemous word, target audience. What are you talking about, target audience? F a target audience. But I think that we do kind of have to keep that target audience in mind if we're trying to sell our stuff. If we're writing for ourselves, who cares? I don't give a shit about target audience. I'm writing for me. I don't give a crap. But the minute I want to market this, the minute I want to sell this, then I got to start thinking, much to your point, Tom, okay, who is that audience? And there's a target. And so target audience comes into play. You know what I mean? Like, I know it sounds, I guess it sounds like what are you selling out, bro? What are you doing? You're just writing just to make, whatever. But I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think all ages is one of those terms that I try to stay away from. Like, I write stories for like a younger audience. I do. So like my Wonder Duck story. If I'm at a convention and the parent comes up to me and they want to buy the book, they'll always say, sometimes they'll ask me, I'm like, what's the age group for this thing? And I have to have an answer for that, because if I don't, then I sound like I'm just trying to sell you something. I'm just trying to put it in your hands. I don't care. It's all ages, buddy. Just take it. It's all ages. Don't worry about it. It's all ages. And the reality is, there are certain kids who probably 13, 14-year-olds probably gonna be like, what is this, a duck? Superhero duck? My kid's not going to want to read that, bro. If you're charging me $10 for me to buy that, my kid's probably not going to want that. So no thanks. But if I tell them, listen, this is for like 10 years old and over, if your kid is, some kids may like it or whatever, then the parent feels a little more comfortable. Okay, that's the audience. Cool. I'll take it. My kid is only 9 or 8. I can read it to them. I'll take it anyway. it doesn't matter. But if I had that age group attached to it, it makes it a little, to them, it adds a little validity to it. And they're like, oh, okay, this guy kind of has, let me check this out. So,
but that feels more like just your pitch.
Yeah,
rather than writing for an audience, you're just determining in your pitch. Correct. This is for whatever.
Right. What's the audience this is for? Correct.
I kind of think that like those things aren't mutually exclusive, though, right? Like both things can be true at the same time. I think stories start at a very personal, in a very personal way. But if you work for a publisher or it's going to be something that is going to be in the marketplace and you want it to sell, then it has to be entertaining. It's got to be an enjoyable thing for them. So I think both those things are true. It starts out being very personal. You're doing it for yourself, but it's in the context of a story that has to be entertaining and that people want to buy. I think that's kind of a given, with the kind of stuff that we all do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. So George, that's it.
That's all I got.
That's all you got. Damn. All right. Well, for now, we'll go to this one, Infernal Descent. Thane, do you want me to play this video? Thane, hello.
I'll take that.
All right, I'm gonna play the video. Yeah. Very nice.
That's cool.
Short and sweet. All right. So Thane, you want to? Are you there?
Yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, my computer's being a little funky, so I apologize if there's connection issues. But yeah, so you can probably tell by the video, the story is essentially my little Click the Clockwork Knight character is at the top of the clock there with the clocksmith, and they're like watering the plants, and he goes down to fetch a new pail of water, and he trips, and he falls and falls and falls and falls, and he breaks his neck and dies. And he thinks he's going to go to heaven because he's like, oh, I'm a good person. I'm going to fly off. I have my angel wings. But then these tentacles grab him, basically drag him down to hell. So it's one long story, but it's one continuous vertical descent, right? So what people are actually buying are kind of these prints. If you go back up, you'll see the print there. The one side's color, one side's black and white, right? But each print is basically like a page, right? But the idea is that you line them up, and it's just one story that just kind of keeps going down, 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 down. But it is a story. It isn't just like abstract. There's a story like with an ending. But this isn't the ending. This is like chapter 1 of the story, I should say. The Kickstarter is for 8 prints that size that'll all line up and be roughly like 6 feet a story. But my plan is to kind of keep going with it. Like I have big ideas for it and what I want to do with it. And I do have an ending in mind, but I'm hoping people will be into it enough that I can really kind of go crazy with it and do some wild stuff before I actually wrap it up with the ending. Yes, so I refer to it as like an experimental comic. But it's fun. You never know when you launch something on Kickstarter. It's like, are people going to give a crap about this? Is this too weird? Be like, this is a staple, So there's no page that you turn. It's just you keep going. But the reaction has been good. I've been very happy with the reaction to it. So yeah, hopefully this is the first of many of these I'm planning on doing. And then there's
very cool. Looks great.
Yeah. So I mean, I
appreciate it.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, the Infinite Scroll has been around for a little bit. I mean, what made you want to do that? Like, do that type of,
Yeah, I've had the idea of doing something like this for a long time. Years and years, I couldn't even tell you when, maybe 10, 15 years ago, something like that. I met a guy at a show, and I think he's sort of a little bit famous. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. The project is called Foreverscape. and it's this dude who's like doing this drawing that's just, and it's not like a story, it's like a drawing, but it's like one continuous drawing that just goes on forever, and he's been working on it for like years and years and years. He was at the show. It's not Scott McCloud. No. That name I would have remembered. No, if you search for Everscape, it'll show up. Like the guy does like gallery shows and stuff of it, but it's like, I want to, maybe I'm exaggerating, but I say it's like miles long. Point this crazy drawing. He's and at the show he had like, you know, it was like a comic book show, right? So we all had labels, right? But he had like a kind of a device that was up that was like a scroll, basically like an automatic scroll, like spinning. So the thing was kind of just like kept going. So you could like stand there and just watch it go. And it's more of like a stream of consciousness, kind of like weird, real thing. But it was cool. Since him, I was like, I want to do that. but I wasn't sure like what exactly I wanted to do. But then I kind of got fixated. I was like, well, it's got to be something going down, right? If it's the what what down is.
Yeah, we lost you a little bit there.
What did you say? Yeah, I was just saying like it had to be something that would. So I feel like I'm bouncing in and out. Sorry. But if you can hear me, the idea is that it has to keep going down. It was go to hell because hell keeps going down. And I was looking at the calendar and I saw that June 6, 2026 will wind up at 666. I was like, I think this is a sign. I think I have to do it now. So that was the impetus to start it.
Gotcha.
And if all goes well, if I live that long, what I really want to do is keep it going until 20 and wrap it up in June of 2066. That's the big plan. If I live that long and if people give a shit about it that long.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. I mean, the artwork looks incredible. I mean, it looks like a lot of fun. I mean, you've met your goal. You got 77 backers. You got 11 days to go. So everybody, come check it out. Jump on. It's a really, really interesting project. I like
Thane, was it you?
Jump on myself.
Thane, was it you or was it someone else that a while back did the Kickstarter where it was like a gigantic piece of paper that unfolded? It was like one thing and it unfolded all the way to this giant page. Was that you or was that someone else?
No, that was me. Yeah.
I remember back in that thing back in the day. That was actually a really really interesting idea.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, cool. All right, Jim, do you want me to play this video?
Sure.
Hi, my name is Jim Ousley, and I'm the writer of the Eisner-nominated horror series The Atonement Bell and my other Red 5 comics series, Butcher Queen. And I'm very excited today to tell you about my new horror comic series, The Agony of Stars. The story takes place in contemporary times and concerns the search for a serial killer whose victims are retired policemen that served on a special task force in the late 70s. When two detectives team up with a caretaker to investigate, they discover a frightening secret connected to a missing persons case and a woman with dementia. I've always loved slashers and police procedurals and mysteries with fascinating characters, and The Agony of Stars combines all those things to tell a really exciting story about the consequences of secrets. On this one, I'm working with two new collaborators that I'm very excited to work with, and I'll let them introduce themselves to you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Paul Little, and I'm the colorist on The Agony of Stars.
Hi, my name is Etienne Doropatsny. I'm from Quebec, and I'm the artist on this wonderful project. I hope you like it.
Aside from the comic series and the graphic novel, we also have some great rewards that you can get when you pledge to our campaign. We have buttons, we have stickers, we have magnets, we have great variant covers, we have prints, and a box set. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope you help us bring our new horror series, The Agony of Stars, to life.
The end.
Cool. All right, so Jim, walk us through this. What are we looking at?
Right. What we're looking at right here is some of the pages from issue 1. It's going to be a 4-issue series, and you can back that subscription to the series, or you can pledge to get the graphic novel that compiles all 4 issues with bonus material. And yeah, I'm working with actually both the guys I'm working with are Canadians. And I'm working with Ed Dukeshire, who's doing the lettering, and really great letterist. And I probably had more fun with this team of collaborators than I've ever had before. It's been really fun working with these guys. And yeah, I'm just I'm so excited for people to read the story. I'm really happy with it. I like putting sort of disparate elements together that don't seem like they should go together, but making a sort of cohesive kind of unusual narrative out of that. And I think we did that with this one. Yeah.
All right, cool.
There's Paul. There's Ed.
Yeah, there's Ed. So in the story, so you said the 4-issue limit is all the artwork and everything complete, or are you guys still working on it?
Issue 3 was just finished. He's working on issue 4 now for the art. So yeah, it's well on its way. Yeah.
All right, very nice.
Exciting to see it all come together. And there's some of the prints that are done by various artists that I really like. That one is by Chris Segovac. That one's Christian Misimo, who's another great artist. And yeah, just lots of great talented collaborators doing some really cool work. That one right there is the variant #1 issue. And that was done by a Kansas City artist named Doug Bell, whose work I kind of became a fan of. And I'm actually hoping to work with him on a story later on this year. But yeah.
No, it's really, really nice. Very striking.
Yeah.
Jim, did you put that video together, or did you have an outside agency put it together? Because that's for a video that's based around you talking. That's probably one of the better you talking style videos that I've seen. A lot of times those videos go sideways. That video was put together really well.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that had nothing to do with me at all. That's my friend Grant Essig who did that. He's a really talented guy. We used to we were in bands that used to play together a lot in St. Louis, and that's how I got to know him. And he's just a really, really great PR and videographer, and just a super talented guy. So he tends to put together really good videos, and he's also my art director on a lot of the issues and graphic novels that I do. So he's a super talented guy.
Yeah, it's really well done.
Yeah.
Yeah, the key is to work with people that are way more talented than you. So that's what I try to do.
Well, they say that's the key to management. Always hire people smarter than yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I mean it's a great looking project. I mean, are you going to be doing more Kickstarters, or are you just going to go like this first issue and then straight to the trade? I mean, how are you looking?
Oh no, so this is I don't really like doing multiple Kickstarters, and that it's only because I can only take so much. You know what I mean? Like if I have the energy to do it, I want to have it be one Kickstarter. So this is for the 4 issues. You can get the 4-issue subscription. You can just get the 1 issue, the issue #1, or you can get the graphic novel. There's various tiers where you can get various things. So this is a sort of an all-in-one Kickstarter. I try not to do individual Kickstarters for every individual issue kind of a thing. And that's just me. That's entirely me. I like to have it just be one project and,
that's really cool. I mean, it's definitely a different outlook, because I know for myself, I'm doing 10 to 14 Kickstarters a year, but I'm doing like, 2 issues at a time or whatever. And, I know Tom does a bunch of them. I mean, Matt, how many are you up to a year? 8 or 9?
We're only doing the most we've done in a year, I think, is 5. But okay. Yeah, we're actually on our 18th campaign in total. But yeah, definitely every issue is its own campaign for sure for us.
Gotcha.
That's great that, I wish I could do something like that, but I just have to have it, it's just a different perspective on it. I like to have it be the whole story and have people get the whole thing at one time. And plus the collaborators I have, it's difficult to kind of keep them on for a long period of time. So I like to have the work done, so that people can just get the story, as intended in one thing.
All right, cool. Very nice. Everybody, man. I mean, great looking book. Go check it out. I mean, you got 10 days to go. You're at 8,800. You still got a little bit of work to do, but I don't think you're going to have a problem getting there. Very nice. It's a good looking project.
Hopefully not. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you. Here we go. All right, Thane had to go as his computer was just acting up on. What's up, Fred? Everyone's good. Fred's a good dude. He just finished the campaign. He's funny. I hate to say this, like I want to read his book, but I'm a notorious trade waiter, so I'm not waiting. I don't care. I'll back it when the trade comes out. Yeah, it's one of those things. I'm just like, yeah, just want a nice thick book, All right. Matt, do you want me to play this video?
Absolutely.
All right, cool.
This looks great.
Cool.
Yeah, man. Awesome artwork.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, so this is Tatsumi the Serpent Mistress 1 through 3. We've had a lot of fun with this campaign. Really enjoy the story that is being developed that we're unveiling to everybody. As you can see from the video, Tatsumi, we're talking about post-apocalyptic. Her kingdom was wiped out by the Dark Conquestors and Soul Rippers. She's never seen anything outside the boundaries of her kingdom, and she has to go venture out into the Serpent Sea to see if she can find anyone that will help her to go back to try to eliminate the Dark Conquestors and the Soul Rippers. And she gets picked up by a band of rogue pirates. So we've had a lot of fun taking her and putting her in this, fish out of water scenario where she came from a very proper society. Now she's out there on the high seas with these pirates and learning their culture. And it's just been a really fun series to develop. We've got a lot of fun things. We do a lot of wild merchandise. We've got socks and shirts. The metal music that was in the campaign video is all stuff that I write. So it's sometime soon there'll be a third metal album that comes out. We've got crazy things like wearable leather work. Like we've got the Cthulhu-looking Widowmaker masks that we have some fully wearable leather masks of those that our leather workers do for us. We actually have a pretty wild guest appearance in this issue as well. Efren Ramirez, who played Pedro in Napoleon Dynamite. Steph and I were actually at a convention, and we were walking into the green room, and he actually stopped us, and he's like, dude, you guys look really cool. What are you guys all about? We started a tunnel we were doing, and he was like, hey, man, can I put my phone number into your phone? And he literally was like, I want to talk to you guys some more. And, he was just like, hey, it'd be really cool if sometime I could be a character in one of your comics. And so we had a lot of fun developing a character for him. It's definitely not Pedro. It's Efren. Efren has done a lot of horror movies. He's done, he did Satanic Hispanics. He did a movie called Seven Cemeteries with Danny Trejo. So he likes to do all kinds of fun avant-garde things. So it was interesting having to go back to a Hollywood actor and be like, this is the character we have. This is the scenario. This is where the arc is. And that whole phrase about what's my character's motivation? What's he thinking? And have him kind of give us some input was a really fun thing to do. But we really love this story. We love this issue. We love where this is going to go. I would like to say it's a swashbuckling high seas adventure. And this issue's definitely got some fun high seas stuff that's going to take place.
Cool.
Very nice. I see I was looking at the Cthulhu masks. Those are really cool.
And I can tell you, those things might look like you're like, dude, that looks insane. You're never going to be able to see at them. From all the different masks that GB Leatherworks has made us, we've done wearable dragon masks, wearable horse masks for different things. This one actually is the easiest to wear, and you can see at it and breathe in without any real issues. And it doesn't look like that from seeing it. But from putting one on myself, I'm like, dude, this is like, I could go walk around the street and wear this thing and scare the crap out of people. Go to the grocery store, no big deal.
It would scare the crap out of people. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really nice. I like that. Cool. Yeah, man. I mean, let me tell you, how many different series? Because you have Tatsumi, which is a spinoff from your other book. So how many different titles are you working on right now?
So we've got 5 titles, but right now Tatsumi is the absolute main one we're working on. Tales from Nocturnia, the medieval series, is finished. Heirs of Isildur, the apocalyptic steampunk series, we just put out the final issue of the Perilous Prospects arc. Misfits Clubhouse will happen when it happens, and then I Am Keto is actually a prequel to the Tatsumi story. The I Am Keto story was about a different character, where that's the first appearance of Tatsumi, and then this is her story in the Tatsumi arc. So yeah, we definitely have some things that kind of build one off of the other, but this is the one that's our main arc, our main story arc right now. And then we'll see where things go from there. Yeah, that's actually something fun with Richard Rivera's Stabity Bunny. We have a set of metal trading cards that connect. And if you backed Stabity Ever After 2, which he left his campaign in late pledges so that people could still back it there. If you physically back that one, you get card number 1. If you physically back our campaign, you get card number 3. But if you physically back both, that's the only way you get that middle card. We won't sell the middle card. We'll print a little bit more than we need for the campaigns. But those are all going to be for future promotional purposes. So the only way to get the entire set is to back both campaigns physically, and then you can get the full 3-card metal card set.
Nice. Very nice.
Cool.
Very good. Nice. So this is the 3rd issue, right?
Correct.
Right. How many more issues? Is it like a 4-issue limit? Is it 6-issue limit? What are we looking at?
So we know it's going to be at least 6 issues. We're kind of toying between the 6 and 7 right now, only because we've got the art for the first 4 issues is completely done. We know where we're going for 5 and 6, but as we're putting it together, it's like, does it become a really long 6, or do we just kind of flesh it out a little bit more to make it 7? We just want to make sure that all of the plot points, all of the characters, we don't want there to be some character that just kind of like, you're like, hey, that character is really cool. Then you kind of, you didn't really develop that character anymore. So if we have to extend it a little bit to make sure that everybody gets a lot of meat on their character arc bone, then we're going to do that.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool. Very nice. Very nice. Now, you said you're doing currently, 4 to 5 campaigns a year?
Yeah, we're doing 4 to 5 a year. This year is probably going to be 3, and then we're going to do like a backer kit at the end of the year that they do like the backer kit holiday market, and then we'll see where we go from there.
All right, cool. Very nice. I mean, listen, man, you always put out a great book. Campaign's always fun. I mean, like, what got you guys into the socks, though? It always cracks me up whenever I see those.
So we wanted to do some fun, different things and just kind of see how it went. And like, we did socks for one of the campaigns, and they were really well received. We did them for the next campaign, it was really well received. And then we're like, do we really want to do socks on this next one, or is it going to become kind of a typecast thing? But we had the character Bruce McTutherson, Aquatic Investigator, that's in the Misfits Clubhouse series. And we had so much art for him that was really good. We're like, dude, we can't not do a Bruce McTutherson set. And then that one was so well received that people are like, dude, I can't wait to see what socks are going to be in your campaign this time. So we know if we didn't have socks in our campaign, people would be like, what's going on? So
Right.
Now, basically, every campaign has socks. I think we're in our 11th different pair of socks. So 11th different pair of socks, poker chips in every campaign as well. We have the trading card sets. This time we did something neat where we have some golden esque poker chips that you can only get by being either one of the top backers in the campaign, or we're going to have 5 that we're going to give away randomly. So that one is it's the golden token. So if you're one of those top backers, then you'll get one. You can't add it onto a campaign, onto a pledge. You can't do anything to assure yourself other than being a whale backer. So we're going to do that, and people seem to want that exclusive collectability. So we may continue doing that with future campaigns.
All right, very nice. All right, cool. So you got 4 days left. You passed your goal. Great. Listen, great looking book, everybody. Like I said, again, jump on.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Hey guys, I've got to jump off.
All right.
I've got
Jim,
my kids here for Father's Day.
Just
So-
let everybody know.
and I'm a dad.
Yeah, Jim, real quick. Just let everybody know where they can find you and your work.
Yeah, you can find me at Jim Ousley on Twitter and Facebook, at radio_Jimbo on Threads and Instagram, and Blue Sky. I think if you just search my name, I think I'm the only Jim Ousley on there. I'm not sure, but I think you can find me on there, and you can find my books at red5comics.com or Storm King Comics. And yeah, very nice meeting you guys.
Yeah,
You too, bro.
Absolutely.
I'd like to meet you again, actually, and thank you very much for having me on the show, JD. I appreciate it.
Anytime. Listen, whenever you want to come on, just reach out, and we'll find a spot for you.
Sounds
All
good.
right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, man. Happy Father's Day. Take care.
Oh, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, now all we got left now is a shameless plug. It's the greatest thing about your title. It's very easy.
Oh yeah, the shameless plug. I feel left out, but I have no video in there. Everybody had these cool freaking videos, and I'm like, all right, nobody of mine. But yeah, no, the shameless plug follows the story of a boy named Joaquin who's trying to fit in. So he resorts to his imagination to figure out how, and the shameless plug is born. So it's a coming of age story. Little boy, we've all been in a situation where we're going into a new environment, and how do we fit into this cog? How do we fit into this whole place? And so the story explores this. This little boy comes in, and he's 9 years old when the story begins. It's being told. He's telling the story, remembering his first time at a new school, and the shameless plug is his imaginary friend, who the tagline is, sometimes to fit in you have to be yourself. And so it's a story of that. Just it's fitting in. It's being the odd the odd man out and figuring out how to be a part of something. And sometimes you just have to be you, and that's all it is. It's just being yourself. So yeah, that's what this is.
All right, cool. Now it's a 140-page graphic novel, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, is it a one and done? Do you expect to revisit these characters? What are you looking at?
So it's a one and done. I've spoken to a couple of libraries about the concept of just like fitting in and because there's bullying and all that other stuff. And so I'm thinking of not all of the characters, but the main character, obviously the shameless plug, maybe turning him into maybe just books for kids and stuff like that, like children's books, in a sense where he meets a different kid with a different kind of issue that he's having fitting in. And so the shameless plug comes in and kind of helps him out. So that's the plan for the story moving forward. But this is his origin story in a sense, where he, how he came to be and this relationship he has with this kid named Joaquin, who he helps out for the first time.
Okay, cool. Very nice, very nice. This is not a criticism in any way, but why would you do 6x9 prints instead of doing trading cards?
Why would I?
Yeah,
that's a good question. Why would I do that, JD? Why didn't you tell me this when we were talking on the phone? No, I just the 6x9 prints, man. I don't know. I had some printed out, and they look really dope, man. And at conventions, they actually move. So
okay. All right.
Yeah, no, at conventions they actually
Yeah.
do move. People actually do like them, so that's why I did them at that size. I have trading cards. I've done trading cards in the past, and I don't know how it is. I'm obviously you guys, kill it on Kickstarter. So, but for me, like at shows, the 6x9s do better than the trading cards for me at shows. I
Gotcha.
guess maybe it's different on Kickstarter.
I'm just being selfish. I just collect trading cards. So
Oh, you like trading cards? I got you.
just being selfish. That's all. That's all. You know, you're doing a shameless plug. I was just being shamelessly selfish. So
Yeah.
But
And you know what Jim was talking about, and you know how you guys do multiple Kickstarters. I'm kind of like what he's doing, where like I did the first chapter of the book just to see how it would do, and
Right.
then I was like, you know what, the whole 140-page thing is done. Let me just do the Kickstarter for the full thing. So that's what I did. I ended up doing the Kickstarter for the entire thing.
All right, cool, man. I mean, listen, it's a great looking book. You
Thanks,
know,
bro.
I would tell anybody, if you got kids, or even as an adult, just pick it up, check it out. George puts together a great book. Very
Thank
nice.
you, brother. Appreciate you.
You got 47 hours left.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
over Tuesday the 23rd, this coming Tuesday.
All right, I thought maybe you had a little bit more time. You know what it is? I'm thinking Marvin's campaign because he has like 43 more days.
Oh, really?
Marvin's campaign ends next year. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I'm doing one soon. It's gonna be 17 days. I'm like, all right, let's.
Yeah. All of us are doing like 2 weeks now. Marvin's like, nah.
Let's
I'm a
go the opposite of these guys.
17 days still feels long. I can't even imagine doing one where it's like, I can't even imagine the logic, honestly, behind doing one that's super long with late pledges now. Get it done, get it over with, get the money start to flow, because especially with pay over time, you're not going to be getting all your money right out of the gate anymore.
Right.
So,
well, that's assuming you use that.
Oh yeah, we definitely do. We definitely do. And sometimes it's good. Sometimes it kind of bites you in the butt. But you've got people like, hey, I'm going to go back high and I'm going to go, do pay over time. And you look at your campaign and you're like, 50% of my money's tied up in pay over time. But at the same time, with late pledges, pay over time and all that, get the campaign done, get moving and keep the thing flowing and all that so you can get on to the next thing. That's my thought.
My campaign. So this is the first time I did under 30 days. I don't know. I think it might have been 21 or 22 days or whatever it was. And yeah, I mean, but the other thing I did was I used my website also. So people pre-ordered from my website. So I have the website and the Kickstarter going, just for people who didn't know what the hell Kickstarter was. And it's worked out. It's worked out so far. Not so much on the Kickstarter end, but definitely just the pre-orders and stuff. So
I really like your pitch line too, like your quick little pitch. Sometimes to fit in, you have to be yourself. I'm like, man, that says a lot in a very few words right there, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate that, bro.
So
it's an awesome book.
Okay. So you're running a Kickstarter and you just have a plain out just pre-order it here.
Yeah.
But your Kickstarter isn't doing as successful as your pre-orders?
So yeah. So what happened was the people who I sent out a blast because I did one Kickstarter for it.
Yeah.
It was the first 40 pages. And a lot of those people went and pre-ordered from my website and was like, screw Kickstarter, I'm just gonna pre-order. And then when I was at a New York Comic Con last year, I found it out that people, they were like, I don't know what a Kickstarter is, whatever. He's like, do you have a website? And they pre-ordered a lot of stuff there. So I was lucky to get pre-orders at those shows, and it worked out. So yeah.
What's funny is that the show I did 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Right, for the Forest Hill show, I had people say, "What's Kickstarter?"
Right. Yeah.
I was just,
that's not a surprise to me. But when people ask, I tell them, and they get, "Oh, that's cool. Let me get into it." I just find it interesting that you have this situation where people are just like, "Nah, let me just pre-order it."
Yeah, me too.
And that's happening in some capacity.
Yeah.
I won't get into like the deep weeds on that, but that's you were the first person I've ever heard do that in that context. So it kind of threw me off.
Yeah, it honestly, bro, it threw me off too, because I was like, man, I don't know if people, because like, who the hell am I, right? Like, what the
well, I mean, there's
like,
just ease of use, right? I do understand the ease of use. Like, for example, if I just put the book up on my website and I said, go to the website, click buy,
That's
you're
what
done.
it is, dude. That's
Like there
what
is
it
an ease of use versus like, well, I got to
Yes.
make an account and I got to do and I got to do and I got
Exactly.
like that's there's a rationality there for sure.
Mhm.
Especially in sort of the context of like the Comic-Con, where they're just kind of wandering around, and if they can just like scan a QR code and just like blip, okay, done,
Yeah,
and they
that's
can
it.
walk away.
And that's exactly what it
you know,
was. Yeah. That's
yeah,
exactly
that's
what it was.
interesting. That's interesting. All right.
I would suggest it, man. I would say if you have a website that you can do that with, just do that, man. Just offer them that right there at the con. Just buy it right now, because people know what pre-ordering is on what.
Sure. Sure. They understand the
they
term
get that.
versus
Yeah.
crowdfunding or
Versus
whatever. Yeah.
crowdfunding. Wait, you mean I
Do
don't
you-
get this till when? It's like,
Do you offer? Well, I don't know if you do stretch goals or anything anyway. But if you had stretch goals, do you give them to the pre-order people too, or do you leave that for your Kickstarter people?
no, I leave that for the Kickstarter.
Okay. Yeah, that's good.
And,
Yeah.
and people don't even care. When
No,
ordering it
I
online,
completely agree with you.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
stretch goals
They
are the
don't-
most
they don't care.
useless thing
Yeah,
to
they don't
90%
even
of the
care, dude.
buyers.
They don't
Yeah.
even care, bro. So no, but if if you do pledge on Kickstarter, you kind of know about that stuff, so you
Sure.
do want that.
Yeah.
There's psychology to that.
There's
which is-
definitely people that do like it. They like getting the extra stuff.
Right.
But I get people that still to this day, I've been doing Kickstarters for almost 10 years, and I get people that get a package and they go, "Oh, I think I got the wrong package because there's like stickers and magnets and stuff in here."
Right,
And I'm
right.
like, "No, that's just for you. That's that's a thank you for being part of the stuff." So yeah.
Mhm.
But
it's
to
really
them,
interesting.
it could have shown up with nothing and they would have been just as happy.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm glad to see you did put a Kickstarter out there for it, because one of the things about Kickstarter, and I'm sure Tom and JD can agree on this, is that there is a whole ecosystem where there's some people that are only going to buy products on Kickstarter.
Okay.
They want to go to that marketplace. They're never going to see you at a show like New York Comic Con. They're never going to know that your website exists. That is where your website exists to them, where they can go in and see the different books that are out there.
Yeah.
So it's good that you did that, because you would have lost anybody, even if you feel like your Kickstarter is struggling. Those people probably never would have gone to your website and got it. So you got that additional kick for your fan base.
Yeah. And there's a trust factor with Kickstarter, right? At least I know Kickstarter. I'm gonna go there. I don't know this guy. I'm not gonna go there. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that makes total sense. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Tom, you're up.
Okay, who is the best dad in superheroes?
Wow.
Well, Matt, you're up.
Go ahead, Matt. Go ahead, Matt.
I definitely am not going to have an answer in this that I'm going to be able to like stand behind, but I would feel like it would be somebody like The Incredibles or some kind of like something like that. But man, that's Tom. You man, look at Ben. You've got me speechless, man. That's a good one. That's a good one. Man, I want to know what your answer is to this. Whatever you say, I'm gonna stick with.
Damn.
It's obviously Magneto. I mean, come on.
Is that definitely not Homelander? I know that for a fact, boys. He is on the opposite end of that one.
Oh man. Shoot, dude. I'm gonna go.
And that's not true, Daphne. They're not.
They're all dead. I'm gonna go real vanilla on this thing. I'm gonna go Pac-Man. Just because I had nothing else, bro. Just
That's the baseline right there. I mean, that's the baseline. That's the obvious. Yeah. To me, there's a few obvious ones. I mean, obviously, over the history of comics, like a lot of the dads have been like good dads and then like questionable and then back to good. And there's a roller coaster of all of this. But in the general sense of all of this, like most of them are you can find fathers or like Uncle Ben, like father figures that work. Yeah.
All right.
And I think Alfred would be that, right? For
me, yeah, that's true. Alfred would be for Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Reed Richards.
Yeah, that's
yeah. Reed Richards and Sue Storm is still alive. That's why I said it's.
She's alive sometimes. So is he. He's alive sometimes. Yeah,
that's true too. So, yeah, they both are in and out. So it depends where editorial's at that day. That is funny. So Tom, what's your answer?
Well, Matt, you got nothing still after those?
Dude,
examples?
I'm telling you, man, I feel like a dope because I'm like, that's a good question, man. That's a good question.
So Pac-Man and Reed Richards, those were sort of my two. Those are the obvious ones. I figured they'd get picked. There's like I said, there's a lot of dads that sort of have been this. And the one that I'm going to pick, it really depends on sort of which version of him that you're talking about. But it's Jor-El. I always thought Jor-El was great. You know, he made sure that little Cal got saved, and he was trying to save Krypton, and those guys are a bunch of dickheads, and all that kind of stuff. So Jor-El is sort of my answer along with them. But I'll throw out a list here because I looked it up just to see what people thought about this. And again, some of these guys are dads in like alternate timelines and stuff. So it gets a little weird. But like Peter Parker became a dad in the Renew Your Vows storyline, whatever. Surrogate father Alfred, we talked about him. Alan Scott, Green Lantern, it was the father of Jade, the other Green Lantern. So there's that guy. Cyclops, according to this list, says he became a good father as time went on. Jonathan Kent, of course. Cable says he learned to become a father. Uncle Ben, of course, we just talked about. Reed Richards. Marco is a character from Saga. It just says he was an amazing father and husband. I didn't read the book, so I don't know. And then the last one, it just says Superman was meant to be a father, and he's been a father in various incarnations and alterations and stuff. So there was that. And then the other list was, this has Alfred, Ben, Big B Wolf is here. Mr. Calderon.
Yep.
From Fables.
7 kids.
Yep. Okay. Scott Lang, Ant-Man, and then his kids down the line. So that's a good one. Jonathan Kent. Luke Cage is listed here.
Luke Cage. Wow.
I don't have a now. Of course, Bruce Wayne is a dad now. Right. I will say that the last Batman book that I read, that I don't know what the last time I read a Batman book prior to this, but it was the Joshua Williams and Simone DeMau book called Batman and Robin. Came out a couple of years ago. It was basically a Damian and Bruce story, like the whole thing. It was really good, and it was really interesting to see Bruce like fully take dad mode on, like making sure a kid goes to school and stuff. Like here's Damian's like this brilliant freaking kid, and he's like, I'm gonna go to freaking high school, and he's like, nope, you're going to high school. So it was an interesting story. Rick Grimes from The Walking Dead is in this list. It's an interesting one.
That's an interesting one.
And then Ogami Ito from Lone Wolf and Cub.
Oh yeah.
So now that you've gone through that list, and I had a chance to think about it with a lot of depth, I do think Alfred is a really good one from Batman, because if you take basically any iteration of Batman, he's always there to be the
father figure,
father point, the voice of reason, no matter if it's the 1960s one or any version of the movies or anything like that. Right. So I think that Alfred is I wasn't thinking father figures, but I think Alfred's solid for being another. Rick Grimes, absolutely not. Alfred.
Well, here, since I'm up next, I'll go counter to Tom's question. Who are the really bad fathers in comics?
Already said the worst one ever, freaking Homelander. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Homelander from The Boys is trash.
Yeah. That is true. I think they're worse though. I think
there's worse than Homelander. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
it's pretty bad, dude. It's pretty bad.
No, Homelander's pretty bad. That's true. But,
Homelander sets the bar high.
Yeah, the bar is pretty high. George, what do you got?
Okay, so what's his name? Oh man, Invincible, his dad.
Oh, right.
Why did I just blank on his name? What the hell?
Omni-Man.
Yes, Omni-Man. I'm gonna go with Omni-Man. Where's that?
All right, that's good. Tom, what are your thoughts?
I feel like the Green Goblin is sort of not a great dad.
That's true.
Yeah, kind of. That's kind of where I went pretty quickly. Omni-Man was a great one. Who's the guy? Oh my God, who's that fucking guy? Oh, Ra's al Ghul is kind of a schmuck. There's that guy too. So
who's the dad? The not Kick-Ass, but who's the dad of Christopher Mintz-Plass's character in Kick-Ass. I feel like he is a mess.
Oh,
you mean the gangster guy?
Yes.
The gangster of,
because he completely gets his son completely mixed up into the wrong things and sends him down a wrong path for sure.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna have to go find that name.
now, really bad dads in comics. Wolverine, I think, is a shitty father. He just drops them, doesn't even know they're there. They just pop up with claws trying to get them later. Right? Another one is the Hulk, especially if you read Old Man Logan. That version of the Hulk, terrible father.
well, Banner's dad was a dickhead.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, those are the two I got.
You guys have Darth Vader in there?
Oh, that's true. I didn't even think about Darth Vader. That's true. Pretty bad dad. Hey, like he only took one hand, you know.
Frank D'Amico. Frank D'Amico is the guy. That's
Is that the name?
dad in Kick-Ass. The father of Red Mist.
That is funny. George, you got another question?
Yeah, I got one. All right. So, who or what influences your writing?
All right, interesting. Tom.
I mean, everything does. Everything can be the impetus for something. I mean, I came up with the Legend of Oz because I was trying to buy Wicked tickets a million years ago, and I got inundated with that picture of Elphaba with her head down, you know, that poster that they use.
Yeah.
And so as I was driving back from Phoenix Comic-Con, I was in the desert. I was Phoenix and New Mexico and Texas. So it was just me and the tumbleweeds and the cactus for days. And I kept thinking about Wicked, you know, I got to get these tickets. And so that's where it all started. All the terminology started to blend, right? So yeah, she was the Wicked Witch of the West. Here I'm in the Wild West. So I was like, oh, the Wicked Witch of the Wild West. Like, what would that be? And it just evolved from there, you know, out of that. So anything, anywhere. And for Penny for Your Soul, the second volume, I was trying to figure out a way to introduce this new character, but I wanted something kind of unique and kind of fun and off the wall, and I just couldn't come up with it. And then I went to the bank one day, and as I was coming out, this girl got on a little Vespa scooter and took off, and I was like, that's it. That's the introduction to this character. She's going to come in this way that's completely polar opposite of what the book is at that point, so that she would like stand out. So anything, anywhere, all at once, as they say in that dumb movie.
Cool. Matt?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with Tom. It could be anything. I know when I was writing the first Heirs of Isildur arc, the Crossroads Conundrum, there's a metal album that goes along with it, and the metal album actually came first, and there was a lot of the song lyrics that came from situations that were happening with people around me. There was one person who almost committed suicide, and I had a conversation. She had put some really weird crap online, and myself and another friend had reached out and just to see if she was all right, because I mean, it was some really dark stuff. And just over months and over time, just checked in, see how things were going. And she seemed like she was doing really well. And she had said something to me and was like, yeah, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here today. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm glad that I'm glad you say that. She's like, no, you don't understand. I literally knew what I was going to do that night. My boyfriend had hung himself in the garage, and I was going to do the same thing that very night until you reached out. And I was like, as soon as she said that, I'm like, wow, that's pretty freaking intense. And that spawned a song lyric, which turned into a backstory for a character. So yeah, like Tom said, you never know where inspiration is going to come from. And I'm always like, and don't thwart it. I've got, I write everything pretty much exclusively in Google Sheets. I've got it up on my computer, got it up on my phone. It's always there. So if I have a thought or an idea, like that. It literally, like, I go to my phone right then and just, knock that idea out as soon as I can, because we all know if you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning with a great idea, you wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning, you're never going to remember that idea. So you've got to write it down as soon as it, as soon as you get that inspiration, you just got to write that stuff down immediately.
I agree.
So Steph said it just got dark. Let me undark it. When Steph and I first started working together, we created a spreadsheet, and just any idea either one of us had got thrown onto this spreadsheet where there was 26 different story ideas, just random stuff. Some were highly developed. Some were just, it'd be nice if we did this story, and that's all that it was. And a couple of them turned into stuff. Sometimes stuff just sat there. And I think it was probably 3 years after we just put that spreadsheet out there, we had one of our friends challenge us to write something that was all ages. And Misfits Clubhouse actually started from an idea that we had put on that sheet 3 years prior. So, you never know where your ideas are going to come from. And sometimes your ideas you have may not be anything more than just a fleeting thought right off the bat. It may be just a fleeting thought that you might develop later on in your career. So don't be afraid to go write that thing down and see what happens with it later on.
All right, cool. I'm kind of like Tom. It comes from all over the place. That's why I'm a big advocate for reading widely and watching widely and doing all that stuff. So it just all gets into the blend. But sometimes I'll do something that'll require me to do a lot of research and will require me to maybe write in a certain style, right? So I have this one project with Oswald where it's Oswald. He's in Dream. He walks into a bar, and sitting at this table is Mary Shelley, H.P. Lovecraft, and several other authors, and they're all sitting around this table, and they each tell a story, right? And each story, I want to keep it to just 2 pages, right? So it'd be like a double splash page. It'd be very, very, just concise and tight like that. But I want to write each of those stories in their style.
In their voice, all right.
Right, in their voice. So it requires me to read their work and get into that mindset, and then, tell that tale. So, so sometimes I'll get into that mindset, but that's like a writing exercise. You know what I mean? But it's just the sort of thing that I enjoy doing once in a while. So
one thing I will say too, one of the things it's interesting, George, that you brought up Paradise earlier. We do really like to look at the way that any kind of media, especially, short frame TV series that have got 8 or 10 episodes, if they're well put together, like I think that the live action One Piece season 1 is incredibly well put together, because when you get to episode 8, which is the finale, every little breadcrumb and every little storyline that was out there, they pulled them all back together and really resolved everything in that final episode. So as a writer, really like seeing how those things are done. Paradise season 1, same thing. The way that it wraps up. Paradise season 2, like I said, how it's kind of done in reverse of what season 1 is done, where you feel like it's all totally scattered, and then you get to the end and you're like, wow, they knew what they were doing. They wrote the end, and then they wrote the rest of the series after they wrote the end. Definitely like looking at and deconstructing that and saying, how can we take the things that are written through in Sim and kind of mimic that to make sure that good writing, whether it's a movie, whether it's a TV show, whether it's a comic series, mimics that same thing, so that way our readers can get that same experience. We say we really value people's money, but we really value their time, because you can make more money, but you can't make more time. And we don't ever want somebody to read one of our series and be like, man, that was a waste of time. It didn't go anywhere. We want to know that it's got a climax and it's got a point. I think there's a lot of good cinematic things out there right now where you can get inspiration from that as well.
Yeah.
You literally just put me back into the theater when I was watching Disclosure Day, going, the fuck is the point? What are we doing here?
I saw your review of that movie and I was like, man, you hated that.
2 hours of my life is gone.
Listen, I don't do this too often, but Tom is right.
Really?
Tom was right. I'm telling you, I saw that movie too. Tom was correct, 110%.
Damn.
That movie was bad.
Really? I saw something online that said if Steven Spielberg's name wasn't attached to it, that director would have been slammed.
It would be an M. Night Shyamalan movie
Right.
if it wasn't Spielberg. Yeah.
This is true.
As long as it's not The Happening. It's like, what's happening in The Happening? Nothing. You're bored as all get out.
Oh, man, at least The Happening, you get a laugh, man. But like Disclosure Day just doesn't give you anything.
Damn.
The Happening was terrible. Oof.
Damn.
Yeah, but it's still funny as fuck when the guy just like lays down in front of the lawnmower and you're just like, yo, that's crazy. Like you don't even get any of that in Disclosure Day. Like there's nothing of value at any point that you can like point to and go, well, that was cool. No.
That sucks.
All right, cool. Tom, you got a question?
Yeah, why does Disclosure Day suck? Like let's create a list.
Yeah, if we wanted to like break it down, like if you see the problem is that I don't think George or Matt has seen it, but I mean we could break that sucker down.
All right.
Just from the beginning.
Yeah.
It just totally
It bothers me. Yeah, it bothers me. It just bothers me. It just bothers me. Well, what was funny was I went to the theater and I was gonna see Disclosure Day. But because because Masters of the Universe is also struggling, I was like, oh, you know what? That's probably going to get pulled from theaters pretty soon, and I want to see that on the big screen. So I went to see that instead, that particular night. And I have problems with that movie too, but at least it was fun. It was it was the right choice to see it on the big screen because the CGI is unbelievable. Like I don't know how, but it's better than what we've been seeing at Marvel and DC for the last 5 years. Like the CGI was fantastic. So it was the right choice to go and see that. But then like 2 days later, I was like, okay, Disclosure Day time. Oh my God, that was the wrong choice at any point. It was the wrong choice. So when I was done, I know the guy who runs the theater and he comes in and he's like, so how was it? Cause he hadn't seen it yet either. And I was like, so how was it? We talk about movies all the time. And I was like, yo, man, that was some garbage, hot garbage right there. And he just started laughing because that was sort of the reaction that he gets all the time when people, are coming out of the movie. And he says that there's this old guy who comes to the theater all the time. And over the last week, he had been there for 3 straight days. He was there that day earlier in the show. He'd been there 3 straight days and he had watched Disclosure Day 3 straight times. And he asked the dude, they talked to him. He's like, why are you watching this movie again? Like, I thought you didn't like it. He's like, I don't, but I feel like I'm missing something. and my immediate reaction was like, no, you're not. No, stop. No,
He's trying to find something.
Yeah,
good
he's trying to find it. And I give him credit for that. Like some things there, I'm not understanding it. So I have to understand it. So I give him credit, but it's wild.
Well, how long is
I've got a question for Tom and JD who's seen this. If they actually had an ending to this movie that was satisfactory, would you think any differently about the other minus 5 minutes, the rest of the movie?
No,
or just the whole movie?
I'll tell you no. I'll tell you immediately no, because the rest of the movie was Keystone Cops. It was nonsense, terrible, like bad guys screwing up every time. Like there's a dude, giant freaking fence, and there's a dude like walking right here. Nobody sees him until he steals the car that's like 5 feet from people. Like everybody is just like terrible. Nobody. And then JD, the car and the train, right? Mm-hmm. That's the most nonsensical shit I have ever seen. That car would have been torn to pieces almost instantly. It's not going to sit there for a mile bouncing up and down with its hood stuck under the wheel. What are we doing, Spielberg? That's terrible. So no, I would have appreciated a better ending, but the lead up is so painful that I don't know that there's an antidote at the end that you could have fixed.
If they were in a 1977 Gran Torino, that might have survived.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair point. Yeah, if it was actually built out of metal like they were back in the day, maybe so.
Yeah, but in that car, no way. But I mean, that movie was.
Well, how long is the movie? Is it long? Is it
2.5 hours? Yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
2 hours plus. I mean, it's
painful.
So have you guys seen the movie Send Help?
Yep.
Okay,
Send
so
help.
for me, Send Help kind of goes to this point. I thought Send Help, I was like, man, this movie could be really good. This movie's going to be awesome. I'm like, you get up to the point where she is the puking scene. I laughed hysterically at the puking scene in this movie. But I felt like when you got into the third act, some stuff kind of fell apart. And the whole first part of the movie, I was like, man, if this movie has a great finish, this is going to be one of the best movies of the year. I'm like, please finish the right way. And you got to that third act and things just sort of fell off the tracks. And it made me rethink the first two acts. I'm like, man, they wasted two acts that were so good and could have been a landmark movie. And the finish just wasn't well. It made you have to go back and rethink the things that happened in the first half. And I'm like, man, that's
you know what's funny? About halfway through the movie, they got the scene where they're walking on the cliff and she says, hey, see those rocks over there? Don't go over there because there's like thorns and shit. I immediately at that point, I was like, that's the end of this movie. We know something's there now. It was like there was like an X made out of rocks.
Yes.
And I was like, that's the end of the movie. Something's over there. She knows what it is. And so I was already like pulled out of the story like immediately because it was so painfully like, don't go over there.
That's a movie that like the concept is really, really good, really strong. The climax, I don't think they thought about the climax. They just said, hey, we have a good concept.
Yeah.
And it got so close to being so good. But again, as writers, I think that we owe it to our supporters and our readers to make sure we don't do that in our titles as well. Just because you have a good concept, if you don't have a climax, if you don't know where your story's going, like when you asked earlier, JD, you're like, is it going to be how many issues? We know where the Tatsumi, the Serpent Mistress, this arc is going to go. We just know there might be a little bit of massaging as the story is kind of developed to make it work in the middle. But ultimately, we know exactly where it's going. I don't like it when you see a movie or you read something that you're like, they had this cool concept, but they really had no clue where they were going, and they just wasted my time.
Yeah.
Is this the Sam Raimi movie?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay, because I haven't seen it yet. So
I haven't seen it either. That's the plane crash, right? Where the plane crashed.
Because I remember seeing the trailer. I was like, oh, that seems interesting. I said it was
It
Sam.
starts really strong, but then it just starts to fall right off the cliff, which is in the movie.
The dump ching.
Right. Wow.
Beat you over the head.
Actually, yeah. I mean, I went to go see the other movie with a buddy of mine, Steven Spielberg movie. But we, I was like, they were showing Furious, right? Which is like this martial arts film. And I'm like, I really want to see Furious, right? But he had invited me to go see this other movie. So
You chose poorly.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was his choice. I just went along, I just went with him, but I was just like, damn it, should have went to go see Furious.
Did he like it? Or did he not like it either?
No, neither one of us liked it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, the movie was trash. I mean, we're pretty much like we went to go see Masters of the Universe, the weekend before. We enjoyed that. For what it was. It's one of those films where it's just like you can't take it too seriously. Remember, it's based on a cartoon, right? And you'll probably have some fun because, what is it? I mean, Tom's seen it. I thought the fight scenes were really good in it. Yeah. I mean, I thought like they surprised me how good they were.
The action, the CGI, the effects.
Like,
I have a question for you guys. So, do you think that movies have gotten worse? We've become more critical, or CGI just has fucked up storytelling?
All of the above, really,
right?
Honestly, all of the above. Social media has turned us all into me. Where we're all looking for the problems of the film, right? I acknowledge it, like that's me. Plus, I'm a writer though, so I come into a film oftentimes like if you've got me, I'm in, right? But if you lose me, I start to ask why you lost me, and I start to see all the weird disconnects and things like, what are we doing? So, it's a lot, I mean, you go back into CGI days, CGI gets better as you go backwards. Into you go back and look at the original like Transformers and stuff. Like it's ridiculous what they're doing with CGI in that, all the little moving parts and shit. And it all looks like it's solid. It's where it's supposed to be. Nowadays, everything kind of just floats in weird spots, like it's not really connecting. But in Masters of the Universe, like you could feel the weight of these guys, like when they're running around on the rocks and stuff. Like it looked really, really, really good. So it tells me that you can do it. Problem is it makes your movie cost $250 million, and you know you're going to have to really hustle to make that sort of a budget up.
I think that I think that people like us that are writers, like Tom said, we're gonna look at the movie from a writing and a construction integrity standpoint. When you go to Hollywood, when you get to any point where you've got stocks that are being traded, and the only thing that matters is, can we get 25 more cents added onto the stock price?
Yeah.
At that point, it's not so much about the integrity, the structural integrity of the movie or of the writing. Is what can we do to get the best trailer, to get the best, literal bang for our buck in the theater, so that way people are going to go spend their money. And sometimes the story construction be damned as long as they've made their money. And to me, that's unfortunate, because I want to see a movie. I want to read a book. I want to see a TV show where that writing integrity is there, where it's going to last. It's not going to be something you forget about in 2 years, or the only reason it's going to get talked about is because of the problems with it. I look at The Burrows, the TV show The Burrows. If the streaming show, they just canceled it. It's at 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's an incredible show, but here's the thing. I am glad they canceled The Burrows, because The Burrows only is designed to be one season. If you watch that show, it wraps up incredibly at the end. I would even said when it got to the end, I'm like, there is no possible way that there can be a season 2 without either just using the name The Burrows and putting a whole new cast in there with a whole new thing. Every bit of reveal and whimsy and things like that were done. And I was like, I'm glad that this thing is canceled, because if they would have tried to move forward, it would have wasted a great series and turned it into just a money grab. So shockingly, they didn't just go with the money grab.
Yeah, but see, also you have to remember, people have to really realize ratings do not equal viewership. And these streaming platforms, they're canceling shit because nobody's watching this shit. It doesn't matter that a handful of people are like, we love it, yay! Like, that's great. But if nobody's actually watching it within their context of like, we need so many millions of whatever viewers, if no one's watching it, they're going to throw it out the door in an instant. A lot of these Marvel things, a lot of these Marvel TV shows, people get all up in arms because they're like, oh, this is such a great fucking show. Why is there even talk of canceling it? Because nobody's watching it. If you look at the viewership, the Nielsen ratings, that kind of stuff, the viewership is like in the toilet. So they have to have a sense of, okay, like X-Men 97, right? People really liked it. But viewership was really, really, really low. But within the context of like Marvel and stuff like that, they also know that like, okay, there's the show, but then the show advertises comics, the show advertises merchandise. We want them to buy Wolverine pajamas. So there's a different sort of life cycle for something like that versus like the Burrows. So those things can kind of hang on as just, we'll do it for a couple seasons to advertise our brand, and then we'll do something else. That's why a lot of times you see like those Justice League cartoons get canned and people are like, oh, it was so great. Well, nobody was watching, but it'll come back in a new form somehow, and they'll remind you to buy Superman pajamas again. So,
Yeah, I mean, what's funny is I was thinking along the same lines when it came down to Masters of the Universe, because they've already announced they're going to do the second movie.
Yeah.
Really?
And it's through Amazon. And I'm like, they're probably going to bump it up on Amazon Prime. A bajillion people are going to watch it, and they're going to bump it in between commercials of toys and underwear, underoos, and God knows what.
Masters of the Universe is going to blow up on streaming. I think it's going to be monstrous on streaming. Yeah.
And I mean, and the thing is people are just going to buy merch, and you're already on Amazon. That's where you're watching it. So that's where you're going to probably buy it, and that's what they're relying on. They're going to sell. Well, we only made $200 million in the theaters, or $100 million in the theaters, but we're going to make $2 billion just selling toys,
Like what Steph just said here is actually very interesting. When she's like, agree with Tom, if anyone thinks these platforms are keeping shows because people talk online how much they love it, that's not how it works. The only time you see a lower viewed show that does come back is when they get canceled, and then there's the big outpouring of you got to come back, we got to get it somewhere. So at that point, even though the viewership was low, there was some kind of public outcry that was large enough to bring it back. So, yes, there has to be some kind of fan base that's going to give people a reason to want to bring it back and spend their dollars to make the stock price go up, to make those investors the money.
Yeah. A show that reminds me of something similar to that. Schitt's Creek. You guys heard of Schitt's Creek?
Oh, great show.
Great show, right? I was trying to put like family members onto that show for a while. I was like, dude, you got to watch this. It's fucking hilarious, right? It wasn't until Catherine O'Hara died that they were like, oh, let me check this shit out. And they loved it. You know what I mean? It's that, and sometimes that's what happens, right? Like something tragic has to happen. Somebody dies in the show or something, happens that they start watching the show and they realize how good that fucking show really was. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, it's like when 80s singers and musicians die, right, and all of a sudden their old music goes skyrocketing on iTunes because they're like, who's this guy? And the people are buying all that shit up. They're like, oh yeah, you found the good music. Good. At least you're here now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no opinions, by the way, just in case you didn't notice. No opinions whatsoever.
None whatsoever. None. All right. I got a quick question for you guys. What's a single work that you've read or viewed or whatever that you would say impacted your creativity? Single work. It could be anything. George, why don't you go first?
It's funny you mentioned Mary Shelley. Frankenstein, the not just the book itself, but like the story behind the book, how she was sitting down with friends telling stories.
Yeah, her husband and Byron.
I think that was one of those works that I was like, yo, man, and I read that shit when I was like in school, so I had to read it. It wasn't like I just picked it up because I just like to read. No, I had to read that shit. But when I read it, I was like, wow, this is dope. And how did this come about? Wow, this girl was a freaking genius. Like, she was like 19 when she wrote it, 18 when she wrote it. So I think that's one of those works where I was like, you know what? I can tell stories like that, right? Fuck it, I'm just gonna tell some stories. So that definitely had a huge impact on like how creatively I decided to tell stories. And it's basically just sit around a campfire and tell stories with your friends, man. That's what writing is, right? Just telling stories amongst friends, something that you guys want to kind of like tell. So I think that's probably the work that did it for me.
Cool.
I think there's a couple of things that have over time have clearly influenced what I do. I've talked about it before. It's just movies in general. Is I'll watch a movie to watch a movie, but I'll watch specific movies to watch how they did it, watch the camera movements, through scenes and angles and stuff, and how can I translate that into comics? And over time now, people have come out and said like, oh, every time I read one of your comics, I feel like I just watched a movie. Yes, because that's the whole point, is I'm trying to bring that sort of experience to the page. And you'll see a lot of like letterbox style stuff in my comics too. Like I use that format, through my stories to move characters back and forth and around. So there's that. But then in a comic sense, Stefan Sejic and Sunstone changed the way that I really understood dialogue. Like his dialogue is so sharp and so organic through the series, from the characters to each other, to other characters and back and forth. His dialogue is so great. Every time he puts out a new book, I always kind of just tease him. I'm like, God damn it. Now I have to, get better again, because you blew my mind with how you do this dialogue. It's so great.
Has he ever told you how he does it? Like what he, like how he works that?
No, I've only just recently sort of had a relationship with him, because he did a cover for me just recently. I'd love to be able to pick his brain at some point on conceptualizing things and where his dialogue comes from. Hopefully I'll get that opportunity sometime, but for the time being, I just kind of study what he does, and I try and use that really organic. We're in this sort of culture where everything kind of has to be like snippy and snappy and meta, and I'm just like, that's trash. I hate all of that. Bring me back to just organic, real people saying real things, and that's what we try and do in our books.
All right, cool. I mean, listen, I guess we all have a reason to hate Joss Whedon, right? Because that's the first place. I mean, there's him, there's Quentin, right? Tarantino, but I think that's a different level.
That's a different level, yeah.
You know, and then, you know, and unfortunately infected the Marvel movies, and that was it, man. It's just all over the place now.
Well, I also blame a lot of that kind of stuff on things like Mystery Science Theater 3000, where everybody's got to have a quip about something. And it's just like, oh my God. That's why I think people, this modern age, this is why I think they talk in theaters all the time and they fuck around, because Mystery Science Theater 3000 taught them to do that. Like, it's going to be funny if I say a thing when a thing happens. Like, no, it's not. I'm going to slap you in the head. Shut up.
Yeah, I've never watched it. So,
Yeah,
I've never watched none of it. All right, Matt, what are your thoughts?
So for me, I'm going to bring up one that I don't know if you guys have ever heard of, but there's a show. It was on Netflix called Travelers, and it's a 3-season show, and it's one of those that's similar to Terminator in the sense of an apocalypse has happened and there's a future society and they have to go back in time to try and correct things that happen to affect the outcome of the future. So obviously one of those weird time loop things that when you try to think about it, it's hard to even understand. But that show did such an incredible job of never doing the gigantic information dumps to get you to understand how it all worked. I believe it was 4 people were sent back from the future to the current times. And as you're doing different things, they would just be walking down the street. And one of them would say, talk about, oh yeah, that's just like what happened in 2077 when this, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, okay, cool. They just gave me a little tidbit of information that I can go put with that other tidbit, and I can build the entire scenario. Oh, you can only go back this far. You can never go back farther than where you were the last time. Oh, that's cool. Now I understand why they're not going back farther in time to fix this thing that they just did. And if you get to the end of the 3rd season and then you go watch episode 1 of the 1st season, the show loops perfectly. And I was like, dang, they did such a good job. And so it was really good to see somebody have this long form construction that they made stay true to itself, but also showed you how to take a very complicated subject and give you all the information you need without being like, here, we're going to spend 3 episodes of just information dump and bore the crap out of you and then get on with the story. They found little ways to put it in there while the action was happening.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, that's really good. I mean, that's one of the things that I found in film when I was going to film school, and the teachers were constantly explaining is like, look, you have to tell a story in the background, right? You have to tell that story. Like one of the things, like one of the scenes that was always enjoyed, Fifth Element, right? You're in Bruce Willis's his studio apartment or whatever that thing was, and on his mantle are all of his awards, right? And you see him and his buddies, you see all these different pictures. If you're not paying attention, you're just gonna glaze that over and just be like, oh, whatever, right? But if you actually look, you can see all of the military. So then when the military commander, the general, comes out and offers him that job, you're like, oh, he really can do all this stuff. You know what I mean? And he is qualified like that. He's not just this goofball, And I found that very, very interesting when you see stuff like that in film. It's something we can do in comics too. Whenever I have the wherewithal, I tell my artists that make sure you get this in there, get this in there, get that in there. It's just one of those things, yeah. But to answer my own question, I've answered this before. Daredevil 168 is one of those books that I found it when I was like 12 or 13. And it was the first comic I ever read that I was like, yeah, if I write comics, I want to write it to this level, right? And I'm still chasing that, right? So screw you, Frank Miller. I say that with all the respect in the world. Another one is Swamp Thing 43, and that was another one where it's that's the one where the guy finds like that piece of swamp thing, it's like a tuber, and he chops it up, and it gives like, and it heals people, but it also gives them like a psychedelic response to this thing, right? So it's like they were eating shrooms or whatever, and it was just so weird and so abstract and strange that to my 12-year-old mind or 13-year-old mind, it was just like, poof, like, you know, my head exploded. And in the film Amadeus does that for me too, you know. Oh, you don't like that film?
Oh my God.
Me,
I'm gonna throw up right now.
no, that's a great film.
Damn.
The thing is,
No opinions.
Yeah, the thing is, I saw that film. I was like 12.
Yeah.
Like it won the Academy Award, and I went to go see it. And I mean, for me, I mean, I love the movie because I love the music. Like, you know, like the only other time I ever heard that music was at Bugs Bunny, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, so I got to see it in that context, and I found it interesting. Like, you know, here's this character who's a bit of a degenerate, right? But he makes things of beauty, right? So it goes to show you that character doesn't necessarily affect talent or skill, right? And those are the things that I pulled from that. Like, you know, that then you have Salieri and the way he reacts to this. You understand where he's also a skilled conductor, and he's also very successful. And despite that, he cannot let go of the fact that there's this guy that he recognizes is better than him. He still can't accept his own successes, right? But because he knows there's this guy who's better than him, and maybe he's the only one that realizes it, right? Because all of his concerts are getting taken out of the theaters or whatever, right? But Salieri is there, and he's just like fuming. He's like, "How dare this son of a bitch be better than me," right? And those are the things. Those are the concepts that I got.
That's you. You're angry at Frank Miller.
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
Son of a bitch.
No, I'm not. If Frank is like one of my literary dads. So, you know, like Isaac Asimov, you know. So yeah, I mean, that's how I view it. All right, gentlemen, we made it to 2 hours. Thank you so much. This was awesome. Let's start with Tom. Tom, where can we find you and your work?
BigDogInc.com. Get your books. If you ordered any of the Oz Kickstarters over the last few months, all that's going to be getting to you within the next 2 to 3 weeks. It'll be all sent out to you. And then I'll be on the road going to San Diego Comic-Con for the first time in like 10 years. I'll be at the Antarctic Press booth. We'll be basically celebrating Critter there with them. We'll have some cool Critter merch. We'll have some exclusives for the show. And yeah, that's the next couple of months.
All right, cool. Mr. Knowles.
So obviously the place we want you to go right now is to tinyurl.com/Tatsumi3 for the campaign that's running for the next 4 days. I know JD's going to get up there because he said he collects trading cards. JD, there are 9 different trading cards. There's a 7-card foil set that's going to probably be limited to 50 that's in there. And then there's a couple other, and there's the metal card. I mean, JD, come on, you want this in your collection. You want it in your life, JD. But no, we really are psyched and happy about the way this campaign is performing. We want to see if we can continue that momentum all the way through the end. Think Pirates of the Caribbean and the live action One Piece meets martial arts heroines. Once again, it's tinyurl.com/Tatsumi3. But you're like, Matt, I want to see what else you guys do. Go to linktree.com/InSymmetry Creations, INSYMMETRY Creations. You can see about all of our other titles, the metal music videos. You can go read all the different movie reviews and articles that Steph has written for sites like Fangoria, Horror Buzz, The Daily Jaws, and others. And you can get to our newsletter, all kinds of fun stuff like that. So those are the 2 main places that you want to go to see about what I do at InSymmetry Creations.
Cool. George?
Go to getyourmeds.com. Check out my books there. Also go to Kickstarter. I also have that Kickstarter running right now, the Shameless Plug, which ends June 23rd at 8:30 p.m. I have a podcast as well that I do with a buddy of mine, Sam Vera, called Catch the Craze. We're going to be ending the campaign there. So check that out. And yeah, man, thanks for having me on the show. And good seeing you guys, man. You guys have been fucking amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, cool. George, you know it's always a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks, dude.
So you know you can find me on Kickstarter, Instagram, all those different places. Actually, next Friday I will be launching Dreamweavers #3. I can't help myself. So that'll be coming out. And just remember, everyone, please check out the show notes. In the show notes are the links to all of these different campaigns from all these various creators. And click on those links and buy those books because these are great books, right? I read stuff from all of these creators and all of them do great work. So please go click on those links. Spend your hard-earned money because these creators are working hard to please you. So please go check them out. Thank you so much, everybody, and have a great night. And remember, read more indie comics, especially ours. Thank you.
See ya.
All right.